Bears and Packers. Oh, boy. Here we go. CHGO Pregame Show starts right now. Well, here we go. It is another edition of a rivalry the Packers have dominated recently. And by recently, I mean my entire life as a 38-year-old human. However, a lot of optimism in and around Chicago this morning and nationally on television, which we're going to discuss. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Corey Wootton in the house. Shout out to Corey Wootton, who sang the 7th inning stretch yesterday at a football game.
Yep. Voice of an angel, some say.
It was cool. We do need to address something. We might as well just do it right off the top of the show because I did retweet the video that, you know, because we were granted
I think I know where
access.
this is coming.
We were granted access. And I did not notice this. I just thought, here's my teammate. He's doing a great job. I'm just trying to shout him out. A little bit later in the night, I went back and looked at some of the replies to that. Did you have a script?
So there was a script. I do know Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But when you're up there with the bright lights, you don't want to mess up the transitions. So that's more what I was looking at it for. And I didn't realize that I was looking at it the whole time. Yeah. And everyone's like, man, you don't know that? I'm like, man, I grew up playing baseball. I know it. I did it back in 2013. So hopefully they talked about me doing it in the spring. So I promise if I do it in the spring, I'm not going to look down again. But it was still a good experience. I tried to bring a little bit of that WWE into it, some of the energy, even though the Northwestern game didn't fare the way we wanted to. But it was fun. And I got to see Carm. I got to see Braggs and the whole CHGO crew. So it was fun.
You know, I was disappointed with looking over to my right and seeing you look down, but I love you so much that it didn't bother me. What did bother me, and I can't wait to – I don't think Hoge and I were at the same tailgate because we had a phenomenal time today, our biggest crowd of the year, and I couldn't find one person in there that was picking the Bears to win. So I don't know what the optimism you're talking about. I can't wait to hear it. Yesterday the biggest disappointment was it's just like, you know, when you're winning 31-7 and you're blitzing 6 guys with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you're going for it on fourth down, you suck. It's just a classless freaking trying to run up the score, stupid ass, pathetic Buckeye situation. I didn't like it.
Well, the thing is, Carm, you got to play the game. Northwestern's got to do a better job. I thought they started well.
All true.
They did, but at the end of the day, you have to play the game.
All right. Your 30 seconds of talking Northwestern are over. We got Bears Packers going on today.
Blitzing.
You guys can talk about that. Yeah,
losers.
The game. The only question yesterday was Ohio State going to cover, and they didn't.
They did not.
Congrats
Take
to the
that.
Cats.
There we go, Cats.
Congrats to the Cats.
Got to win over there.
All right. Have you met Jake Flanagan?
That's true. Our general manager is, I think, started drinking at like 4 a.m. And he is very much convinced that we're winning today. Excellent point. That's true. But that's not necessarily
really convinced.
Is that the fireball talking, or
might be a couple fireballs? And I talked to some other people that feel like the Bears have a chance today. And I tweeted this out earlier, or I blue skied it out. I don't know what the hell we're supposed to call that.
Let's go blue sky.
I usually turn on the ESPN pregame while I'm in here prepping for the show just to see, what they're talking about. And they did their segment, underdogs of the week or dogs of the week. And 3 out of 4 of them said the Bears.
Hey,
3 out of 4 of them, it was Teddy Bruschi, Alex Smith, and Randy Moss. All 3 of them said they're underdog of the week, plus 5.5. Now, they weren't necessarily saying Bears win outright, but they were all saying the change with Thomas Brown sparked the offense. They have a chance to beat the Packers today.
Hey, I'm here for it. Let's go. I think the most important stat that you can look at coming into this game is that in the history of this franchise, in the history of this rivalry, the Green Bay Packers have never beaten the Bears 11 times in a row. It's never happened.
There's hope.
So let's go. But I mean, and I'm not allowed to read off the names on the pregame show, but from Buddy to Caesar to Jason to Robbie to Austin to John to Spencer to Andy to Leo to John and all these guys, I didn't meet one person who was picking the Bears today at the old tailgate outside of Jake Flanagan, my hero. Love your optimism. Thank you for leading us to victory.
All right, well, let's talk about what matters most today, and I will start because we need to get a little bit back on track here in terms of what matters most in the big picture, whether you're talking about this season or next season. But the Thomas Brown, Caleb Williams thing, it needs to start working immediately, like the first drive of the game. What matters most today is Caleb Williams needs to get back on track. And now that's Thomas Brown's job. So however we got here, whatever the reasons are, everybody's talking about, you want to talk about optimism, the GMs, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but Ryan Poles is talking about how optimistic he is that Thomas Brown can connect with Caleb. It's the same playbook, so that shouldn't slow Caleb down at all. There won't be massive changes in terminology. Caleb should be able to come out and play with a clear mind. Thomas Brown, man of high character, has the respect of the players. The tempo and urgency were up this week. The details were up. That's all from Ryan Poles on the ESPN 1000 pregame show. Okay, let's see it.
Yep.
Let's see it now. I came out here on Sunday after an absolutely embarrassing performance against the Patriots where they scored 3 points and said what we were all thinking, what we were all seeing. They were in the process of ruining Caleb Williams. The beginning process, but it had begun. That's got to go away. They fired Shane Waldron. They made him go away. They fired Nate Davis. All right, results. Now, I don't even care if they win. It's not even about that. But offensively, they need to score some points. Caleb needs to come out of this game with a good game. He needs to play well.
No pushback, obviously, on that. This is just watching the videos coming out of Soldier Field, and Nicholas Moriano doing a great job covering it for us, and he's hanging out with Tom Brady, and they're all smiles, and maybe having the GOAT in the building just add on to the motivation for today. I'm sure he really would love to play well in front of him and the Fox crew. But for what I'm going for, what matters most, look, Green Bay runs the ball exceedingly well. They've been over 165 times this year. The Bears, by the way, have done it once, okay? So, and Josh Jacobs is fourth in the NFL, 762 yards. The Bears are not going to win the football game if the Packers run all over them. We know this, but it's got to start there. And then on the other side, because I'm not optimistic the Bears are going to score a ton of points today, but maybe they can score a manageable amount of points, if you will, and hold the Packers down. You have got to get to Jordan Love as far as turning him over. The Bears so far against him, he's got 5 touchdowns, no interceptions in the 2 games last year. He's been getting picked off this year. He's been putting it up 10 times. You got to get him today. They're going to have extra possessions. You got to stop the run. You got to pick off Jordan once, twice, something along those lines to give your offense a fighting chance to do enough to win the game.
It's got to come down this week offensively. The identity of the team needs to be running the football. So I think Bears, Caleb has struggled. The offense has struggled airing the ball down the field. Run the football early and often. And the biggest thing Thomas Brown has to get over to Caleb is get the ball out quick. The GOAT, we saw the GOAT Tom Brady in the building. What was he known for? Getting the ball out quickly. That's what Caleb needs to do this week. That's what the offense needs to do until we get confident with things. And then defensively, I'm a little worried about Andrew Billings not being there. He's a real force in there, especially with Jacobs and company. And Jordan Love has struggled. So what are they going to try to do? They're going to look at these last couple of weeks and say, the Bears have really struggled stopping the run. Let's try to get that running game going. So I think this game comes down to exactly like last week. Which team runs the football better? And I'm hoping the Bears can do that. So defensively, we need guys like Jervon Dexter to really step up. He started out really hot, Haven't seen him as much with the activity. Zach Pickens, how are you going to step up in this game? Williams and some of these other guys. So I think we need a big game from the interior defensive line to really stop that run with Jacobs and company.
Eric Williams spoke well of the way Byron Cowart played last week. So maybe just somebody to pay attention to here, Bears fans.
Eric Washington?
What did I say?
Williams?
Him too. Not Eric Williams, great player out of, I want to say Providence, Boston Celtics. Eric Washington. My bad. DC.
Were you watching
Chicago
Basketball
Bears.
Wives last night or something?
I'm always watching hoop. You know this. Always watching the hoop.
Let's talk about the inactives and kind of a boring list. Boring in that there's no surprises. It's still significant. Obviously, Tevin Jenkins is on there. Dom Robb goes back to being inactive with the defensive line getting healthier. Montez Sweat is up. He's playing. Darrell Taylor's back. He's playing. And then Karan Amagaji, Amir Speed. No surprises here. But on the offensive line, which is what we got to talk about here, both tackles coming back. Braxton Jones at left tackle, Darnell Wright at right tackle. That's huge. Expecting Ryan Bates to move over to left guard, Coleman Shelton at center, and then Matt Pryor will be back in there at right guard. And he's having a pretty decent season filling in. So this is probably the best the Bears offensive line has been in a while, even with Tevin Jenkins out, I want to say. That's kind of hard to say, but with both tackles coming back in, it should be a better situation there. And now we just see how it all gets schemed up by the new offensive coordinator and whatever. Just don't have 9 sacks, please.
Yeah.
How about 2?
How
about 2? Can we set that up? 2 sacks today. Can we do this, Bears?
Bears
So
4-1.
17 sacks in 2 weeks with the Cardinals and
geez.
we can't have any of that.
Well, look,
I think Steven's got the number.
Bears are 4-1 when they allow 3 sacks or less.
so
There's your number.
yeah, I've got that stat too. What about when they allow more than 3?
They've lost every game.
Yeah, these things are not surprising. When you give up a ton of sacks, you don't have a great chance of winning the football game. But I do think it's super interesting. Like, how will they, by all reports, dumb this down, make it? Let's play simpler. Will they run the ball a ton more? I think they will. I actually, last week Roschon Johnson got 1 carry, lost 4 yards. That's not going to work. You got to use both your backs. So I think like if you're looking at like what major changes Thomas Brown can do in week 1, I would think the easiest thing is just to get the ball on the ground, use both your running backs, let the offensive line be aggressive, let them, Ryan Bates playing out their left guard. Hey man, crack the guy in front of you, go forward. Period. End of story. We don't need to think about a ton here.
And the thing I want to see from Thomas Brown is some of those screens and draws in passing situations, because I think when everyone's looking at the film on third and situations where they get pass the ball, they're bringing the house. And so how do you combat that, right? Why not? We got Cole Kmet. We paid him all this money. Why not a tight end screen in a situation like that where they're bringing the house, he blocks for a sec, turns around. That could be a gain 15, 20 yards. Why not the running back screen? Act like they're blocking. Just get them off balance. I want to see some of that, and the ball get out quick. Thomas Brown, get in Caleb's head, hey, let's get the ball out quick. Let's be efficient. Let's not hold the ball too long, because I think that's every young quarterback kind of struggles with that, holding the football too long. So hey, if it's not there, tuck it and go, or throw it out of bounds, live to play another down.
It's an interesting question too, like which receiver and or tight end and or running back will be the most immediate beneficiary of the change here to Thomas Brown. Like, DJ needs the ball more, Cole needs the ball. Every single one of them could say like, "Hey, I'm not getting it enough." So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Well, and that will be an early tell, I think, just in terms of personnel. Does a Tyler Scott get a touch?
I hope so.
I don't think it's totally a coincidence that they changed offensive coordinators and Nate Davis was cut the next day. You know what I mean? Like, because there's just certain things you're going to set the tone. You're going to say this, every coach is sitting there when they go home at night, either bitching to their wives or just writing down notes to themselves about what they don't like about what was going on, right? They all have their own ideas. Every coach has their own ideas. I would do this. We shouldn't do this. Well, Thomas Brown just got promoted in a situation where he can now do those things. He's been sitting here kind of in like this weird passing game coordinator, which sometimes means a lot. Apparently in this situation, didn't mean a ton. He leads the Saturday meetings. He's been in the meetings overall with the coaches, but hasn't really been put in a spot to have the voice, to be able to have the power, to have the authority to take whatever influence he had and actually execute it. Now he does. And we're going to see very quickly in this game, do the formations look differently? Does the personnel usage look differently? Are they going to get the ball to different players? Are they going to run, some subsets of the playbook that maybe haven't even been touched so far? Stuff they installed back in June that they haven't even gotten to in the regular season. All these little things we're gonna find out, I think, pretty quickly in this game. What Thomas Brown likes and what he doesn't like, and probably who he likes and who doesn't like.
This is an audition for him.
Yeah,
not only for the Bears as a potential coordinator, but the rest of the teams around the league. So, good coordinators, they have a certain rhythm and flow. It's kind of like a dance offensively, right? Running the football, the balance, right? The rhythm and timing throws, the play action, and we're gonna see what he can put together. I think it's going to be better than what Shane Waldron, because this is his opportunity now to capitalize on. The Bears have been playing really poorly, and it's only going to look up from here. So I'm hoping he just has that great game plan. And the biggest thing, Caleb just has to get the ball out. So really get in there, coach him up. And I think that's the biggest thing I don't think the Bears have done. They haven't done a good job coaching him up since that Jacksonville game, and all these bad habits start to creep in. So people say, oh, he's not this or that. No, we saw the potential in what he can do. But now it's getting back to that, getting that confidence back, getting the rhythm and timing in his drops and in his completions.
All right, time for our first break of the show. And I want to tell you, as always, it's always this, especially timely on Sundays to tell you about Game Time. Game Time has been a sponsor of ours for a while now. They have Game Time picks. This is where you go to get your last-minute tickets if you need them. Doesn't always have to be last minute, but since it is Sunday, thinking, Bears-Packers tickets not easy to get. Well, go check out Game Time. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes it getting tickets to see your favorite teams even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And they have the super deal. They're going to show you the views from your seat before you buy. Low price guarantee, event cancellation protection, even job loss protection in this. They show you all-in pricing. I always like that. Regardless of what I'm shopping for, I want to know what the price all-in. Don't need all these surprise fees. Game Time takes care of that. You toggle that feature on. You're going to see exactly what you're paying up front. And they have the low price guarantee as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
All right. Braggs and Big Dave are going to the game today via Game Time. Hoge.
Oh, yeah?
That's big.
So we don't have to watch the game with Braggs? Oh, that's
correct.
Awesome.
We don't.
It's a win all day.
We don't.
Best game of the season.
Yeah.
We don't.
Can we get more of that?
And if
home games?
If they win, you won't see him all day. If they are getting killed, then he'll be here. All right. Shout out to our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook, Pro or College. The app to bet football on is CIRCA Sports Illinois. CIRCA sports betting the way it should be. CIRCA Sports Illinois with the high betting limits, low holds, exceptional customer service. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. They've got spreads, they've got props, they've got futures, they've got in-game. CIRCA Sports has it all. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You do have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook who, I'm not saying they're making me rich, but they are definitely allowing me to go to dinner. Thank you. Thank you to our friends.
What kind of dinner, though?
Solid dinner. We might go down to the, it's not just get a little Black Barrel after this show.
Oh,
let's go. Dude, they do a nice, good French dip over there. The ribs are solid. Shout out Black Barrel in the neighborhood. What's up?
Are you buying lunch? Are we going down there during
whatever
the game?
you need, baby. You want to
go down there during the game?
Yeah,
watch
we
the game.
can go watch the game. Sure, why not? All right.
All right,
Just
Carman.
making sure.
Anything for
Lunch
you?
on him, baby.
Any-
Let's go, Hoge. You heard it first.
That didn't sound like a yes, Woot.
Anything?
You know how you sound? You sound like Matt Eberflus after the game. Come
Anything
on,
for
man.
you guys?
You're a fluke.
Can I ask you?
No.
You
Let's talk about the GM.
Yeah. You okay? Let's talk about the GM. It's the same thing.
Yep.
But go ahead.
All right. I do want to share some notes from the general manager talking on the ESPN 1000 pregame show. A bunch of different topics, and we can kind of all react together. Some of this I mentioned earlier. You know, I was going to say what he was going to say about Thomas Brown, but for the record, really good week of practice. Bears lead the league in really good weeks of practice at this point. But the tempo and urgency being up. Details were up. That's another person talking about details this week. Let's see what it looks like on the field. He said the communication between Thomas Brown and Caleb Williams, he really liked it. It was direct, clear, and concise. Everything was clicking at a high level. It was interesting that Poles, I think multiple times in the interview, referred specifically to Matt Eberflus being the one who made the change. Okay. Nate Davis, quote, "It was just time. It was time. It wasn't working the way it was supposed to." And he said, hey, there's some lessons to be learned here. He said something that's true. In free agency, you don't have as much information as you do in the draft. You know, the amount of time you get with the prospects and all that. Now,
I'm going to pick all this apart. Keep going.
I have some quibbles on that too. But he did say we need to learn from the situations that don't work out and that they might add more parts to the process. On Jaquan Brisker, who went on injured reserve the other day, I found this interesting and actually pretty informative. So he wasn't making the progress that they wanted. And when you're out for a while, and we've seen the Bears believe in this, there needs to be a ramp-up period. So it sounds like there's still a world in which Jaquan Brisker can come back this season from that concussion, but he's been out so long that it felt like, all right, this isn't something where, like, if all of a sudden he's cleared next week, he can play.
Yeah.
He's not there yet, and then when he is there to start practicing, there's got to be a ramp-up period.
So has he been conditioning and stuff like that, lifting? I'm sure.
It doesn't
probably.
sound like it.
No, not at all.
I mean,
Wow.
I don't know, but it sounds like he'll need some of that
Okay.
ramp up to
Got
make
you.
sure he doesn't get hurt elsewhere on his body when he comes back. So Ryan Poles said they'll hit the pause button there, make sure he's in a good space, slow this down, take our time. But he did say he would love to see him back this year. They're just going to take it 1 week at a time. So at least not ruling that out. Because theoretically, he could have been put on IR for the year. You know, just said, all right, we'll see you next year. And then one Packer player that came up in the conversation, Jaden Reed, local kid who, you know, is a pretty dangerous weapon for the Packers. Guy I really like coming out of the draft. Bears looked at him. He took a local visit when he came to Chicago and just said to run after catch is dangerous. So that was the kind of the summary of everything Ryan Poles said on 1000 this morning.
Let me redo the Poles interview. Will you be Joniak, please, and ask me about Nate Davis?
Ooh, you and Joniak don't really get along. Are we about to fight?
I love Jeff Joniak. Jeff Joniak loves me. We get along perfectly. He's one of my favorite people, even though
What am I supposed to ask you about?
Just ask me a Nate Davis question. You be Joniak. I'm Ryan Poles. Go ahead.
Ryan, why didn't you cut Nate Davis back in August? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what the question was.
Well, that'd be fine. Let me answer that question. You're absolutely right. We kept Nate around way too long, and that was a mistake on me. He did not help us on the field. He did not help us off the field, and that was a poor signing. And to be honest, we should have gotten rid of Nate a long time ago, but you know we finally did it now.
Yeah,
it wasn't time. It was time a long time ago, man. Like you waited too long on him. What was the other topic?
Well,
Brisker. Can I ask? Yeah, go ahead. I just didn't like.
Well, can we just talk about the?
Yeah.
It kind of bothered me. So I get where he's coming from when he's talking about how free agency is different from the draft. The way it works, you can't tamper. There's no tampering. So all of a sudden, like a button gets pushed, and you have to make some very quick decisions in free agency without even getting to meet with these guys. I think that there can be some changes that the NFL makes to that process that would be very helpful. You know, the Falcons got in trouble for tampering because, you know, it sounded like there was some behind the scenes on some of the medical with Kirk Cousins or I'm sorry, yeah, it was Kirk Cousins or Darnell Mooney. It might have been both. Yeah. Whereas the combine, you went through it like, they got all the medicals on you. To you, they went back too far.
Yeah.
And dinged you for something that happened your freshman year that wasn't even really affecting you anymore. Like, so they overdo it.
And they know about all the off the field stuff. They know about, like, when I was coming out, Des Bryant, right? His mom was supposedly a prostitute. And they brought that up to him to see how he'd react. Like, it's crazy the amount of stuff, like how messed up that is. They brought up stuff that he didn't have any bearing. Like, it's unbelievable, the stuff that they look up about people.
But here's the thing, though. That's all true. But when it comes to free agency, when you have examples like Nate Davis here, if we in the media can make a phone call right after he gets signed and find out from other media in Tennessee what this guy's reputation was, then with all the connections you have in the league, as a general manager, as a head coach, as position coaches, whatever, like...
You can't ask the O-line coach over there, hey, what?
Didn't Chris Morgan come from Tennessee? Am I losing my mind on this?
Oh, he did, right?
A that's true. I see Gary Ross in the chat talking about Jeff King, it's an interesting name to throw out, who's the Bears director of player personnel. The whole contention, like we in the draft, don't know more than free agents, dude. These guys have been in the NFL.
Yeah, there's game tape.
You should know. Well, here are options A, B, C, and all the way down to P or Z of who we should be going after, and this is the file on him. You should know a ton about these guys. They've been in the league. You have a ton of friends in the league. You're asking questions. It shouldn't. If things didn't go out right with McGlinchey, who they went after, and he ended up signing with the Broncos, and you had to pivot to Nate Davis, you should have known everything you needed to know about Nate Davis. That's a lame excuse.
In the league, other coaches are going to be honest with you. It's just like when someone's coming out for the draft, they're going to ask your college coach, hey, what do you think of this guy? And your college coach is not going to lie because his reputation's on the line.
Right.
So then future players, same thing with other guys around the league, should have reached out to the player personnel, the O-line coach, and just said, hey, I see his tape. I like his tape. How is he as a worker? How does he practice? How is his off seasons? Get to know the full picture, because it seems like when he came here, he was dealing with a lot, and then all of a sudden you gave him last year a pass. He lost his mother, unfortunately, but this year it was kind of the same thing. He just didn't seem motivated. He didn't seem like he wanted to be here, and that's the hardest part. Seeing that as a former player, and I know the players there were definitely irritated. Seeing some of the tape that we saw. Him whiffing on guys, not showing effort, because you got to respect this game at the end of the day. Guys are fighting to make teams. They're fighting to get on the field, and you see effort like that, that's disappointing. And I think that's why we've seen a lot of this Bears team. They haven't nipped stuff in the butt. Like, they have not at all. And I think that's come down to leadership. And if I'm the Bears leadership in that locker room, I'm coming out fired up today. Hey, listen, regardless of what happened, we got a new OC. We have a new lease. We got Devin Hester, the GOAT, here, getting honored today, right? Let's show up for these fans. Let's show up for our brothers next to us, and let's get things going. So if they lose the game, so be it. But I want to see the effort. I want to see some improvement offensively, and I want to see them play as a unit together. We haven't seen that in the past couple weeks.
I mean, I got my guy, Al Harris, who showed up down in Phoenix, just texted me like things. They better come up and be violent today. Like, this matters to you guys who wore the uniform, the rivalry, and coming out and being physical. And
if they can't show up for a Green Bay game, let's just pack this season up, because honestly, this is the greatest rivalry in football. If you can't show up for this game and be ready to go when the GOAT is getting honored, come on.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, let me correct something real quick. Chris Morgan did not come from Tennessee. It was Jason Howtailing, the assistant O-line coach, who came from Tennessee, and that was not till this year. The point still stands. These coaches in the NFL, these front office guys, these scouts all hang out with scouts.
Yeah. Remember we went to the combine?
Yeah.
What are people doing? You're going to bars, you're drinking. I'm hearing this guy talk about this guy, and then
like you can still.
You can find out.
If we can have Mark Caboli on Hogan Johns the morning after the Chase Claypool trade, and he's like, Boy, they couldn't wait to get rid of that guy.
If we can have Jackson Smith-Njigba on the show, who nearly had a stroke when we asked about Shane Waldron.
Is this live?
I mean, come on, man. Like, what are you guys doing?
We had Sean Duggar, who covers the Seahawks, out of Hogan Johns the day after they hired Waldron, and he was like, good luck, man. Like,
which is where
it should not be. It's just
that's where you have to question the whole thing. Like, you guys, they love to talk about their incredible culture. He talked about it today on the radio, that he believes in the culture here. Dude, are you paying attention to what your players are saying? Yeah. They're talking about how the details suck. Like, Ryan, live in reality. You have leaders on your team, veterans in the league like Keenan Allen, who is telling you that the OC that just got fired was too nice, and that this stuff was going on all the way back in June. Like, it makes you wonder, like, are you guys awake as to what's actually happening on your football team versus trying to read your press clippings about how great of a rebuild you've had?
Well, look at the team that we're playing, Green Bay, and unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say this, they've done a better job from the top down for years, right? They're 3 of 3 of quarterbacks. They draft and develop talent better than the Bears have, right? The Bears have developed defensive talent great, but offensively, what have we struggled? A revolving door at quarterback, offensive line's been hit or miss. There's a reason for that. So the Bears need to change the way they're doing things, right? And especially today, if they come out and lay an egg, you got to fire Matt. I'm telling you, you have to. If they lay an egg and there's no performance, they're not effort, everything looks the same, you have to fire them. You have to set the precedence, and you have to change it. You have to change the culture of how you're running this franchise because it's broken and it's not working, and there's a reason for this.
Well, that's the other thing, too, by the way, on the culture as far as firing Flus. Oh, okay.
He's been sitting there for like 5 minutes.
Okay. Nick loves the show. He loves listening, and then he's so excited. Look at that. Look at the look of it, Nicholas Moriano today. The leather out of nowhere.
Oh! So this is Biker Boys 2 at Soldier Field, baby.
Nick, why is Caleb talking to the Raiders owner on the field? This is tampering. I want an investigation. The owner of the Raiders is talking to the Bears quarterback on the field before the game. Make it make sense.
Well, I guess Tom Brady can't get that access because he is an owner, right? So maybe get some insight on the Bears and what's been going on. No, but this was like at least when I started watching them kind of get together around the 35-yard line, you guys, like, over 10-minute long conversation just with Tom Brady holding court with Kerry Joseph, Caleb Williams, quarterback and wide receiver assistant Ryan Griffin. Austin Reed was in there, just kind of listening to Tom Brady talk. And obviously no one's done it better than him, but he was there and he was kind of making his round, Tom Brady. Also got a chance to talk to Peanut Tillman when he saw him over here at Soldier Field. But yeah, when the GOATs talks, guys, you listen, you soak up all that knowledge when you can, and you just learn from one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Ever seen Caleb Williams this happy in a Bears uniform than he was talking to Tom Brady? Because those pictures, I mean, in the video, dude's all smiles.
Definitely all smiles. I don't know, honestly, like what they could have been talking about, all speculation. But, yeah, there were a lot of smiles just from what I can zoom in and see from Caleb. Again, just kind of, I don't know if you're, like, mesmerized by the guy, but it looked like Austin Reed, Patrick Norton over here kind of pointed out when Tom Brady was approaching, you know, Austin was in that space like, do I introduce myself? Do I just stand back here? And Austin just kind of watched Tom Brady say hi to everybody else, and, you know, you could say he saw Tom Brady.
So, Nick, the past couple weeks the Bears haven't showed up. Does it seem like there's a different energy this week, especially with the Packers week? Devin Hester's getting honored at halftime. Do the players seem a little bit different? Are they juiced up? Do they have their pre-workout? Are they ready to go on this rivalry today?
I would hope they would have had some pre-workout or something. I mean, Devin Hester is over here making his ways down the sidelines, and you know he's been down here for a while, just taking pictures with people, just having that presence there. I think I think you said it best, Wood. If they don't show up for this game, the season, forget the rest of it. Like, this is one that you need to show up for, especially with given the last 3 weeks. But this is obviously, you have your NFC North rival, and you just need to show up. And I think they do that, guys. They have to establish the run in this game. And I think you have to test out that new offensive line that they're going to put out there with Ryan Griffin or Ryan Bates playing left guard. You have Matt Pryor at right guard. Like, see what they can do there and establish the run and see if you can build off play action with Thomas Brown and what he's trying to do with this offense that he's getting this week.
Nick, have you got any eyes on Jair Alexander, one of the better players on the Packers? He was limited in practice this week, and I'm not surprised to see him active today. But I'm curious to know if he's at 100%.
Yeah, he was with the rest of their DBs and just going through the normal drills. He didn't look like, just from my vantage point, that anything was bothering him. But he was doing everything that the other DBs were doing, and I think in this game, Adam, if you want to win some of those one-on-one matches, you have to go against that guy at times. And obviously he's gotten the better of the Bears whenever he's played him. But, yeah, he looks to be okay and looks to be ready to go for this matchup.
Nick, have you seen Braxton Jones or Darnell Wright warming up at all? You see how they look? Do they look to seem to be close to 100%?
Yeah, from this vantage point, Woot, just going through their warm-ups and just kind of going through the motions, they look to be at least ready enough to go for this game. So I think that's going to be a huge help from what, the Bears have had the last couple of weeks with their tackles in and out. But, yeah, let's see how they hold up. Obviously, it feels like every single time the Bears play the Packers, there's one of those sacks where you're looking at the offensive line like, gets around the edge, causes a big play. But they're going to have to come up big, and they're healthy enough to go today.
What about Jordan Love, Nick? You see him walking around out there. He's playing with a groin strain a couple weeks ago against Detroit. Of course, the Packers coming in off a bye. Have you kicked him or anything around the groin area to make sure that he's not 100%?
Whoa, easy.
How's he look, Nick?
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't do any of those things, Mark, but he was out here throwing some passes, getting loose, and I expect Jordan Love to do Jordan Love things. I think last year changed my perspective of him and what he's capable of doing. But, yeah, he looks to be, good. And then Malik Willis, too, just in case anything happens. Like, Malik Willis had to come in last time the Packers played against Jacksonville. Made one really good pass that sealed the game for the Packers in their eventual win against the Jaguars. So both their quarterbacks look ready to go.
Love actually lost game one of the year. Then misses the next two. Backup quarterback wins it. Loses week 4. And then he won 4 in a row, of course.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, Jordan Love stinks. That's the point.
He's horrible, and everybody knows this. No, in all seriousness, though, if I'm the Packers, and obviously Matt LaFleur doesn't need my advice, he's the Packers definitely have the coaching edge today. But they, to me, can win this game with a Malik Willis-like game plan.
Yep.
Like what they did with Malik Willis at quarterback, just do that. Don't turn the ball over. The Bears do have guys on defense who will take it away from you. So don't put the ball in harm's way. Run the ball against this bad run defense. And it doesn't have to be the prettiest win of all time. You don't have to cover, but get back to Green Bay with a W. That's what I would be doing if I'm Matt LaFleur. And I think that's a pretty simple way for them to ensure they win this game. I'm curious if they get away from that at all. Another big reason why the Bears need to do something today, Nick, that they just simply have not done all season. Score points in the first quarter. Like, get off to a lead. If you can even get up 10-0, that's going to put the Packers in a position where they're not going to be able to follow that game plan that I just brought up, where they're going to have to air it out a little bit more, and then maybe you force the takeaways. That, to me, from the Bears side of things, is your path to victory today. Get a lead, take the ball away, and all of a sudden, some of that momentum that has evaporated since the Bears were in London it comes back, possibly.
And, if you're the Bears, I would expect for them to think that Green Bay is going to do the exact same game plan, Adam, because they haven't been able to stop the run. And, the last 3 weeks have shown that. Really, this whole season has shown that. So if they're going to really change that narrative, they need to show that they can do that today. And look, without Andrew Billings, that makes it a lot tougher. But even with him, they were getting run on. So if the Bears are going to really try to alter Green Bay's plan of attack, you have to tackle and securely tackle Josh Jacobs. He will break tackles. If he gets a one-on-one opportunity, that dude's looking to lower the shoulder. So I think if you're one of these Bears linebackers, these DBs, Kyler Gordon, anybody, you have to wrap up. You have to come in and run support. And you just got to be more fundamentally sound in playing your gap. So if they can win that battle, that's going to put that defense in a really good position to limit points from Green Bay and then just win the field position battle and see if that offense can do anything with it.
All right, Nick, anything else we need to know from the stadium pregame?
Just one last thing. Obviously, just right before the Bears went inside, they have someone break down the huddle. It was Kevin Byard, and I can't remember if he's broken down the huddle here before, but they usually have different veterans depending on, the game. But, Kevin Byard broke it down, and obviously it's a guy that's seen a lot of football. He's been on some good football teams as well, but I just think that the veterans need to show up in this matchup. Even the players that are new to this team, I think they understand what this rivalry means. Kevin Byard would be one of them. This will be his first time playing Green Bay. So just want to see what those guys can do in a matchup that does mean a lot, not only to these players, but this entire city. Like, there should be an energy for this game. If it's anything like last week where by halftime, guys, nobody cared. After halftime, nobody cared what was going on in this Bears-Patriots game. That cannot be the case in this one against Green Bay.
Any mice in the press box?
Not yet, but, you have a bunch of cheese heads here. Maybe that brings out the mice. We'll see what ends up happening, but no mice to report as of now.
Fun fact, our guy Pat Norton, he's only been to one Bears-Packer game ever, and it was the last time the Bears beat the Packers. And
so maybe it's a good luck charm?
He's in the press box with Nick today. So
that's big.
So that could be huge. Nick, thank you so much.
All right, you guys.
All right, there he is. We'll check in with Nick post-game. Steven, did you happen to see what I put in here to load up? All right, no worries. Kind of a big tweet from Jay Glazer a little while ago saying Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams actually got up in a team meeting after OC Shane Waldron was fired and apologized for his part in the offense stalling enough where Waldron was fired. Teammates were very impressed by the accountability and his decision to do that.
That's big for Caleb. If that report is true and Jay Glazer doesn't get stuff wrong, he has to. It's good that he owned his part of this because let's be real. Shane Waldron, I'm not, I probably was, at least as far as this show goes, but maybe the most hard on him of anyone because the press conferences were so cringy. Just painful to listen to, and I wondered about him being able to be in front of the room and lead, which is some of the stuff we heard about him. However, my point is that the guy knows a lot about football. He's been around forever. There's a lot of people in this game, big-time people that he's worked for, Bill Belichick included, Sean McVay, the whole thing. So Caleb has a big part in this, and the fact that he's owning it in front of the team, I'm sure the guys in the room aren't all pointing directly at Shane, or it's both of them. And so I think that he did that. I think it's huge, actually.
No, I like that he did that. But I think, they talked about whisperings that people said that they would rather have Bagent. So I don't know if that's kind of reasoning too. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's ridiculous to say. I understand from a standpoint if somebody's like, hey, listen, you're doing him a disservice by playing him just because the offense is so bad and this, that, and the other. But hopefully Thomas Brown can figure things out and have a great game plan to keep him confident and work this offense and move the ball down the field. That's the biggest thing. Because every week, right, the Cardinals, they can't play defense. What do they do, right? Then last week, Patriots, they're terrible. 6 points in 2 weeks? Or it might have been just 3 because of field goals at that point. But haven't scored a touchdown. They need to get things going offensively. And hopefully this week is just improvement in offense, improvement from the quarterback position. Because that's the biggest thing we want this year is for him to stay confident and improve. I think he's got all the talent in the world. It's been a little up and down this year. But, hey, let's make sure that he finishes the season confident and he gets better every week.
It wasn't long ago that the guy looked like he was on a direct path to being one of the better young quarterbacks, if not quarterbacks in the game. Now the last 3 weeks have been incredibly painful. Yeah. So, look, long season. Got to get it right.
But the reality is that, and we've said this many times on the show, both things can be true. You can have to fire your OC for a lot of things that have not made sense. And the quarterback also needs to play better. So, I think it's a good – and the thing is this, like – the guys in that room know who's screwing up,
yep.
Right? Like they know when it's on the OC and they know when it's on the quarterback. I have not had this confirmed, but I highly suspect it. Do you remember the play last week where it was a sprint out to the left, but there was only one route over there? I'm about 99% sure that Caleb Williams literally went the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because if you look to the right,
everybody's that way.
So it's move your line to the left, which is all window dressing, to sprint out to the right, where he had 2 guys, including I think Cole Kmet in the flat, right there, for an easy completion.
For sure.
So that is on the surface, that sounds like, holy crap, how do you just run the wrong way? But that's a glimpse into how far off the rails things had gotten and how much Caleb Williams' head was probably spinning. Because I had already heard things like, oh, he motioned this guy the wrong way, or he didn't get he called one cadence in the huddle and then, didn't execute it properly at the line of scrimmage. Like, those types of things have been happening kind of all season, right? The false starts, certain things just being disjointed, checking to a run when he should stay in a pass, or checking to a pass when he should stay in the run. Like, those are understandable rookie mistakes. But I think it's gotten to the point where it's like, if you're literally running the wrong way, all right, time for a reset here. And yes, get up in front of your teammates and apologize, because that's the type of stuff that won't go over well with vets. 100%,
not taking that accountability. And I just think he's pressing too much. What you're seeing is him trying to play that college ball. Extend the plays, try to make a play downfield. Just take what the defense gives you. That's all he's got to do going forward. And if it's not there, tuck it or throw it out of bounds.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Woot, but you did play in the NFL?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, right. and the players in the NFL are really, really good.
Really good.
And things happen really, really fast.
Way faster than college. Yeah.
Right. So this was from the Ian Rappaport piece today about all of the conversations that are going on with Caleb and the Bears. And one line that he has in there, as far as with Thomas Brown, the goal be to get back to basics for Williams, as his transition from college to professional football has been a bit steeper than anticipated. And that's how he writes it. From using cadence to his advantage, which he never did in college, to identifying protections, which he never did in college, to checking into the proper play at the line, which he also never did in college. It has been a nonstop learning experience for Williams. In fact, the Bears could tell in organized team activities how many adjustments it would take for Williams on the pro level.
Which we saw. We were talking about, I remember a press conference with Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus in May. Yeah. Maybe it was June, about the cadence issues. We were seeing that in practice.
Yes, and we were also seeing him in 7-on-7s, in practice, in June, in OTAs, in shorts, running out of bounds, not knowing where to throw the football. A lot. It wasn't like one play. So the reason why I picked out that segment to read, he's being asked to do this, learn all these things that he didn't do in the NFL against the best players in the world, with perhaps not the best players in front of him, or definitely not the best players in front of him, and a coaching staff that's having a hard time getting organized too. Yeah. So it's a steep hill is right.
I think Tom Brady had talked about this, that he thinks more guys should sit for a year. And Bears couldn't do that with their situation, but think about if he could have been in a situation like Patrick Mahomes. They got a veteran that they felt confident in, got to learn for a year, really understand offenses and how the NFL works and the system and the cadence, learning from a true pro. I think a lot of these guys would benefit, but what do? We throw them into the fire and have expectations. Oh, he's this generational quarterback. He has the talent, but is it realistic to put that much pressure? And that's what I've been saying from the beginning. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Everyone's like, oh, no, he's gonna be all pro right off the bat. There are ups and downs with this because everything happens faster. You can't run away from defensive linemen. Defensive linemen are just as fast as quarterbacks, especially a guy like Caleb that's mobile. The defensive backs, they operate those windows close really tight. So you have to anticipate him and the receivers are on the same page. So I wish more quarterbacks got the opportunity to sit for a year like Mahomes did. And I think that's a credit for a lot of success. Jared Goff in Detroit, he got to sit most of the season. I think he played the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. So I wish more quarterbacks can do that. But the Bears, obviously it is what it is. We're in the situation we are. But now, Thomas Brown, how are you going to overcome, the issues that this offense and this quarterback have?
Well, along those lines, what Rapport's saying is, quote, they will try to build off the run game as well, using motion and shifts to scheme guys open in an effort to find more explosive plays off play action and keepers. They will continue to home in on Williams being fundamentally sound, knowing in the NFL he can't get away with the same things he got away with in college, based purely on athleticism. So, I mean, makes sense. Can they do it? We'll see.
Little interesting last-minute shift in the spread, by the way.
Yeah, where's it at
back
now?
up to 6.
Okay.
It's been at 5.5. It started at 6.5. It went down to 5.5 after the Bears changed OCs, and now all of a sudden, kind of right before game time here.
I think it should have went down with a new OC because it can only go up from where it's been.
Yeah. But that's a good transition to our prop bets, and we always like looking at CIRCA Sports, one of our fine prop sponsors when it comes to having some action on the game. I'm going to give you guys this one because I think it's pretty good odds. I expect the Bears to run the ball more today with Thomas Brown. I expect Roschon Johnson to get some more carries.
Okay.
Plus 235 to just get 25 yards.
It's a good one. I like it.
Just 25 yards. And I that seems doable, and you're getting pretty good odds there at plus 235.
Yeah, his over-under set at 12.5 right now, which also is pretty good if you're not as confident in the 25.
If you just want to take the over.
Do you believe in the Bears' run game? And run defense, excuse me?
Not right now.
I'm just looking at giving you all the circus here. Josh Jacobs' rushing yards is 74.5.
Oh, I think he'll get over that for sure. I mean, isn't he one of the leaders in the league as far as?
Yeah, he's 4th in the league.
Yeah.
That feels like free money. DJ Moore, circa 42.5 for the receiving yards.
Is there a Swift?
Yes.
Rushing yards.
Rushing yards for Swift is 66.5.
I would take the over on that. I like that.
Okay. Pack run defense is solid. Rome Odunze is at 34. Do you think DJ gets a touchdown today?
No. I think Cole Kmet gets a touchdown though.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like
There you
that.
go. There you go.
I looked at I got DeAndre Swift 25 plus receiving yards. The Bears over 17.5. You can get plus 110 on that. Can they score 18 points?
I don't know.
Let's talk about our predictions then.
Well, Woot's saying no.
All right. Well, let's talk about our predictions, and our game predictions are always brought to you by our friends at Ray Auto Group. Go visit them off of Route 12 in Fox Lake.
We
get
got
the
an event.
race price promise. Everything comes with it.
Got an event coming up at Ray's coming up here. We'll give you more information on that later in the week.
Is that this week? Okay. We're going to be there this week. We'll tell you more about it later. All right, let's get to our game predictions. And for the 3rd week in a row, it is a clean sweep.
Look
So
at
for those of
Brax.
you that love looking at our graphics being wrong on Monday morning, this would be a great week for us to be wrong.
Win-win for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So the number 1 blowout is Braggs. The number 2 blowout is Woot. The number 3 blowout is Nick. Then Kevin. Then Hoge. And me, both with a 4-point spread. We're the most optimistic people out here, Hoge. Know that. Me and you, buddy.
Well, that's how I feel. 52-17. Braggs. Just being Braggs.
Well, he said that he could give, Patrick Norton, who's doing great work for us out at practices and covering games. He's out there today. He handles our predictions. And Braggs told him that I can give you the next 3 weeks if you'd like. Because he gave him his 52-17 on Monday. So so he's like, that's a little early. You want me to wait on that? Nope. You want my next 2 weeks too?
Bragg's whole fall is messed up right now. Like he has his face all the time. Literally, the Bears have him in a funk right now. But I just don't think realistically the Bears have a shot. Maybe they'll be competitive early on. I just think Green Bay is so much better coached. And I think that's the difference maker. Matt LaFleur, I think even if Jordan Love throws a pick, they get some turnovers, I think they'll still find a way to right the ship. And the coaching is where I think the biggest difference is.
And that's why I'm actually feeling the momentum towards the Bears. I'm feeling the energy. I think there will be some progress on offense. I understand where a lot of people are coming from, that they think this roster is talented enough. You give it some juice. There is something to be said for the new coach boost. It happens across the league every single year, whether we're talking OCs or certainly head coaches when changes are made. Even with bad teams, they get a little bit of a boost for 1 week. I think that's all in play. The problem is they're playing the Packers, and this is a thing, and it's in their heads. And the coaching advantage is way in favor of the Packers. So I get it. You want to do a bit, 52-17, whatever. maybe that happens. We saw that happen in 2014. Maybe it does go completely off the rails. I think this defense, the big difference between that is, I mean, that was one of the worst defenses in Bears history. No offense. It just statistically was.
It was bad.
Statistically it was, and I don't think this defense is that bad. So for them to give up a 50-burger today would be shocking to me. I think more likely this is a game in the fourth quarter. The Bears have a chance to win, and the coaching edge goes to the Packers. And Matt Eberflus needs to prove he can make the right decisions in crunch time in a close game. It has not happened, but that's going to lead me to this final point before we get to the Super Chats. If they do win this game, it would easily be the best win in the Matt Eberflus era. In my opinion, topping the win over the Lions they had last year, which was a great win. Yeah. Obviously, the Lions were really good, but with all the external factors here, with it being the Packers, with the season still technically being alive, this win matters more. And the conversation would change a lot about a lot of different things. So if you have a day where you manage to score points, Caleb Williams looks like a Rookie of the Year candidate again, things are back on track, and you get a win over Matt LaFleur, you end this losing streak, boy, would it be huge for Matt Eberflus. Boy, would it be huge for this team. And honestly, forget what we're saying. I think it would resonate a lot in the locker room. Like, they would start to believe in themselves again. And all of a sudden, next week's game against the Vikings looks very winnable.
But then does that keep Matt Eberflus safe? That's the only problem, right? Because there's this false sense of hope. And realistically, I just don't think he's the guy to lead the Bears to where they need to be a consistent franchise that makes playoff runs. Eberflus, I don't think, is the guy. I think, he can win a couple games here or there, but I think his track record, especially after the high hopes this year, I think he showed everything that we need to see from him.
Look, Devin Ezra's back in the building today. The Bears have gone 23 consecutive possessions without scoring a touchdown. Yeah. So you guys are talking about winning games and whatnot. Will they score a touchdown today? Because this is the first time they've gone back-to-back games since 2004 without a TD. Let's not make it 3 straight. Let's get to the Super Chat so we can get out of here, Hoge.
By the way, the Packers had a very passive-aggressive tweet. Crank that yesterday.
Soldier Boy.
Yeah. But the video that accompanied it had nothing to do with it. Did not have that Soldier Boy mute. So dude, if you're going to do that, lean into it. But instead, very just passive aggressively. So
be halfway in, right? Yeah. Be a man.
Yeah, go all the way in, Packers. Yeah. Social media team.
Let me be the Hoge roll here. The game starts in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Shane Wetzel, $5. Carm, I believe I saw you at the Northwestern basketball game Friday. Let's play some tennis. Woo. Packers suck. I believe
you just wanted to get to the Super Chat about you.
Bears, please suck less. Shane, hit me up. I will absolutely play tennis with you. And yes, I was at the Wildcat basketball game on Friday. I'll be there on Tuesday. I'll be there on Friday. Go Cats.
Whoa.
$9.99 from Mark C. Packers suck. 2 touchdowns today for Cole today. I'd settle for 1 touchdown. Nate Davis sucked in Nashville too. That's a good haze on Nate. Bears and Kawhi. What's up, my brother? Vegas polls whiffs. Signing Claypool and Davis or not signing Monty and Mooney. Feels like the scales are evening out. Got to get the line right. Good underlining there by you, Bears on Kawhi. Sorry that Nicholas Moriano, again, didn't come and see you when he was in Hawaii. That was the lamest thing that we've ever done on the show. He'll be better.
Braggs would have made him dinner.
Back at point 199. Damn right, Woot. Bear the F down. Keys, $2 from our guy Keys. Packers 38-13. Not joking. Wagered $80 on this. Good luck.
This man handing us Miller Lite right now believes the Bears are winning today.
I drank 1 beer. Then I drank another.
It, and I will cheers to that.
Cheers.
Jake Flanagan, he is believing in the Bears.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Parm is a hater. Braggs is definitely a hater. 52-17.
Last one. Months behind. $5. Do you think the Bears... You think if the Bears had a veteran quarterback in the room that would have helped with the transition to the NFL? Months behind, it's hard to argue that it wouldn't have helped. A good third-string QB that's got a little veteran presence outside of Austin Reed, that might have made sense. But here we are. Pizzatola, this is for you, buddy. Everybody,
cheers.
Cheers. Thanks to
cheers to the rush defense. The
Pizzatola
rush defense.
Cheers. Pizzatola gets final word. He says, great job, Jake. Fire Carm.
Pizzitola. Enjoy the game. We'll be here right after as per always. Go Bears.
y'all city like the mayor.